And we welcome you back to Game Time. Andre Aldrich, Eric Snow, and if we were here out on Eric's court, that means it's time for a little learning from Coach Snow. And usually I have the paper and you get the ball. You got paper and ball. Thank you.
There you go.
Now we're in our element. Okay, what you going to help us out? What are we going to talk about today?
Chris Paul. The guy, hey, the steals, the defense. Let's talk about Chris Paul.
Okay.
First scenario, on the ball. So if you have the ball, which will be a steal every time, but I call this the tone.
Okay.
Where you're setting the tone.
Am I dribbling?
You don't have to dribble.
Okay.
But this defensively, I think Chris Paul sets the tone for the team defensively, and while doing that, he'll get steals. Different ways. Most guys, when you think of steals, you always talking about ripping a guy, and there's clean rip, go down and get a steal. But you can put pressure on him. It's two different ways. That's why I call it setting the tone, because you can put pressure on this guy and get a steal. Basically, from him trying to set up the offense, I've seen guys dribble off their foot, just lose the ball.
Are you saying
because
just by
of pressure.
Paul,
just by
him
pressure.
advancing
just
pressure?
by pressure?
Okay.
You can get turnovers and steals, and now he's quick enough. If the guy loses it, boom, he's on it. He's quick enough to react. Or you can set the tone by putting pressure on this guy another way, where you play off of him and he has to make plays, where you just kind of play cat and mouse with him, and then when he make a pass, knowing the offense. If you know the offense, you don't really have to look behind you. You know the team sets, so you know if they're running a fist action.
So you're saying you as Chris Paul,
I'm Chris Paul.
You're completely aware of what I'm trying to run offensively.
I know his call.
Gotcha.
I know his call. So if I know if he calls a fist, which is typically a turnout, let's say two chats for Rip Hamilton. Rip Hamilton likes to come out this side and catch and shoot. So I know that. So I'm reading this guy's eyes. So I know this pass is coming. So I'm jumping. I'm trying to play that pass because I know the play is coming, and I'm putting pressure on this guy right here. That's the scenario right there, and that's why I call it setting the tone, because he sets the tone for the whole team on how we're going to play aggressive, or we're going to play passive, how active are we going to be defensively.
Now, he's able to set that tone, though, because I know that he has those 3 steals per game in his back pocket?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll get to that, what the offense is thinking after the 3 things that we go through, as far as, because you have to be aware and conscious of these guys that are still guys. The second scenario would be one pass away. So if you have the ball here, and then we'll have our imaginary player over here, would be one pass away.
Right.
So if I'm Chris Paul, I call this the bait area. You know why I call it the bait area?
Why?
Because typically I'm going to put you in position where you think you can make that pass. And you're my bait.
But wait a minute. You as Chris Paul, you're not standing that far off from me, are you?
It's one pass away.
Okay.
So I'm guarding this imaginary guy right here, which means that I'll have someone else guarding you.
Okay.
So I'm baiting you into throwing this pass. So I may act like I'm helping here. I may act like I'm helping you. So there's different things that you can do in order to bait you to make a pass, even though I'm full aware of what's going on. And that's another way to get steals.
Now, hold on. And I know for the sake of our court here, you need to bait him in the regulation where it is, but I want you to bait I want you to bait a little closer in the light right here. So now you keep going. All right. I don't want you to go too far away from
There we go.
Right,
we can bait him here.
Okay.
So typically, outside the lane, I'm basically close to my guy, which is arm's length. Some guys don't really deny, because when you deny, you basically will look the other way. So that's why I call it bait, because you want the guy that's handling the ball to think that you're not there, to think that he can make that pass. And when he makes that pass, another steal.
Another steal from
those are typically still passing lane defenders. And Chris Paul, being a great steal guy, is actually a good on-the-ball defender, steal guy, and a passing lane defender.
That's saying a lot.
So the next one would be 2 passes away, and I call that the roaming. The reason why I call that the roaming, if you have the ball anywhere, it doesn't really matter. But typically 2 passes away is, guy here would be 1 pass. Anyone over here would be considered 2 passes. I call that roaming because a guy like Chris Paul, who reminds me a lot of John Stockton when he played, they're irritating because they'll leave their man and then come way over here on the other side, and you'll make a pass, but they're still fast enough to go back and recover. So that's why I call it the roaming position, because he'll play. It seems like he plays everywhere in the paint. If a guy on the post gets it, all of a sudden you see a Chris Paul coming and sneaking from behind trying to get a steal. A guy makes a slash. He's coming in here, he's helping, he's getting his hands on the ball. That's why the roaming 2 passes away, it's almost like, do you want him on the ball? Do you want him 1 pass away? Do you want him roaming? But him being a good steal guy, and that's not only being a good steal guy, but having the knowledge of when to go for them, where he's not hurting his defense, he's not hurting his team, where he's just not gambling just to get a steal. He's still doing it within the principles of their team to still be effective.
Quickly help me offensively.
Offensively, if I have the ball and Chris Paul is guarding me, I know that I have to go with ball fakes. I have to tell my guys if he's one pass away, you have to come meet the ball, and if he's coming, you have to always shield yourself and make sure your body's between the pass and Chris Paul. 2 passes away, you just have to be conscious of making good, crisp passes because you have a steal guy that's there. And then on the ball, if he's pressuring me, you know, it's the blind spots, right here, in the bounce. Because most guys, when you go to make a pass, their reaction is like this.
A lot.
Or under or over.
A lot more going on to the team and point guard situation and dealing with steals guy in Chris Paul. Good stuff from you out here on the court. We're going to take a quick timeout. We're going to come back with much, much more. Don't you go anywhere. Keep it right here on your home for Hoops NBA TV.